Welcome to the Keys to the City podcast, where the kingdom enables your success. I'm your host, Christian Graham. Welcome today with artist, author, and philanthropist, Dennis Dizzy Doan. Say what's up.
How you guys doing?
What's going on, brother? Super glad, super happy to have you on the set today, and really just being a part of, what we have going on in the community. We know that you're a tattoo artist, super crazy tattoo artist. You've made tremendous impact in and through the community, starting first with your artistry, and now have made, several steps within the community, releasing a book recently, and then also all your philanthropy work with the Doan Foundation. Let's start first with your tattoo background and really where that all originated from and how you got started in that.
It's a long story, so I hope you're ready.
Yeah, let's go.
So basically, I never intended to be an artist by trade.
Okay.
I had always been an artist growing up, just as a hobby.
Yeah.
Drawing on the charts in school and just doodling at home and whatnot. I always knew I was okay. I didn't think I was that good.
Mm-hmm.
But when push came to shove, when I was about 15 years old, it was just me and my dad living at home. My mom had left already. We were struggling with money. So I started trying to do things to make money. Started off with cutting hair. I was fixing cars, washing cars. And then when it came to tattooing, I got into it primarily because I wanted to get tattooed, but I couldn't afford it. So
you started doing it yourself?
Yep.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to Michael's, got some India ink, got a guitar string. I got a little, the big pen. Took out the ink part of it.
Yeah.
Stuck it in there, used RC motor, and just
started going to town.
Machine. Yeah.
Dang.
So I did that until I was able to get enough money to actually buy some equipment.
Yeah.
But obviously I was too young, so I had to have my cousin buy it for me off of eBay, some cheap Chinese stuff. So it was like $100. And as soon as I got it, I tattooed my thighs. My cousin from France was in town, so I worked on him, and then I just kept going from there. But I was just doing it for fun, I didn't think I could make money. I didn't think I was good.
Yeah.
So it got to a point where it had been a year already, and one of my homegirls was just like, dude, you got to start charging now. I'm like, you sure?
Off the big pen still, or off of the new machine that you got?
Off the new stuff.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
I was just doing solid work, like fully black, like Chinese symbols and stuff.
Right.
But at that point, I started pretty much just tattooing for food. So I'll just tell somebody, bring me a McDonald's meal or something. And
right.
I'll do a quick one on them.
Right.
So it went from that to charging like $50, $100.
Yeah.
And then I started to see more doors open. I got an offer from a company working with Baby Bash at like 16 years old. And they were trying to design some shoes for him, but they were based out of Orange County and I couldn't leave. So I turned that down. And I was always tattooing on the side. I would ditch school, go home, tattoo people.
Yeah.
Walk back to school.
Yeah.
And then work on them 2-3 in the morning so my dad wouldn't find out. He thought I was just cutting hair. But the machines at the time were like super loud.
Right.
But the buzzer for the hair,
it sounds the same.
It's almost the same.
Right.
So I got away with it for a while. And then I almost walked away from it just because I was about to start college. I was trying to go to San Diego State. And I got a job offer from these two dudes that just got out of prison, actually, off of MySpace.
Dope.
So I was trying to buy a tattoo machine from them because as someone working at home, I couldn't get the professional equipment.
Right.
So he said he had sold it already, but he saw my work and he needed an artist that does like Asian work. So I'm like, okay. And I was looking for a real apprenticeship, but they weren't offering it to me. They just wanted me to be there to kind of just draw stuff for them pretty much. But after a year of working for them, they finally were like, all right, just hop on. Because obviously they wanted me to make money for them, right? So I did that. And then one of the partners left. They had a falling out. The other one stayed. And this whole thing happened. He went down a bad path again. So that's when I dipped out.
Yeah.
And then me and my business partner at the time, we started our first shop when I was 20 years old.
Dope. So from 15 to 20, you were, doing all of these like garage tattoos and everything, cutting hair at the same time too? Or were you just strictly doing tattooing at that point?
After maybe 2 years of cutting hair, I kind of died down. I was cutting women and men's hair at the time. But it wasn't worth, compared to tattooing, it wasn't really making the best use of my time.
Yeah, the apples to apples for as far as like monetary, things go.
Yeah.
So like you went from free to McDonald's to $50, and now how much are you charging, on average per session or, per hour if you were to break it down? Or do you do it by project right now?
I charge $300 an hour right now.
$300 an hour?
Yeah, for new clients.
Dope.
But all my old clients, even when the ones that were with me when I was 15, I still charge them the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Super dope.
Yeah.
I think that in itself speaks volumes, like not only to your character, but just business as a whole. Because for me, when I was doing, I kind of had like a similar, background as far as like serial entrepreneurship. It started off selling candy at 12 to, I started cutting hair, junior year, senior year in high school, messed a whole bunch of heads up, was doing it for free. Then it went to 5, then it went to 10, and then $30 a head and stuff. And I was still doing that even when like I ended up opening Smackin', I would still do that on the side because it was kind of like that relief for me, like, kind of, chill on the stress, It was a stress reliever for me. And so, but still charging that same amount that you charged back then for your, your early clientele. I think a lot of people, like when they're first starting off, they don't really know how to start pricing things, and they get caught up in not doing it at all, or they get up in trying to charge like this full blown price of like someone that's, got 100K followers. They've been doing it for 20 years, And like they think that they're this, And you finding that happy medium to be like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm still doing this for like those earlier clients, you know what I mean? Because I've talked to so many people trying to start their own businesses, especially in like service-based, businesses. And that's like the number one question that they ask is like, how much do I charge? And I'm like, for me, it's about your perceived value and then the actual value plus like the time that it takes for you to actually do it. Right.
Yeah.
And so one thing is like, if you have a perceived value, like you're the dopest Japanese tattoo artist, in SD, and people are booking you out, all the way till 2025, you're going to be able to charge that price because you have that type of demand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And your supply for time is not there. You know what I'm saying? But like people that are just starting off, tattooing out the garage or, cutting hair. I don't suggest tattooing out the garage, by the way.
Yeah.
But, cutting hair out the garage or, starting that little side hustle where they're starting to use their gift, start off small. Start off small and start building that demand and that clientele. Do you agree with that?
I do. Yeah. Beggars can't be choosers. And I think it depends on need too. You know what I mean? There's people that start businesses out of necessity, and there are those who do it for pleasure, right? With us, we did it out of necessity. So
right.
It's different. So if you're not going to eat, if you don't, charge that person $20 or whatever, then, there's no motivation. I've seen that with a lot of the apprentices that I've trained. The ones that came from nothing almost always do better than the ones who, have a fallback.
Yeah.
Have a backup plan. Right?
Yeah. You're an underdog, you know what I mean? And so you got to have that underdog mentality. Like there's really no other option but to go, you know what I mean? And to really execute at the highest level.
Yeah. And I tried to get, a regular job. I tried to go to Target, whatnot, but I had like a juvenile record, so it was hard. So I did all that. I didn't think it would ever be a serious thing. It was just kind of like a side hustle, I would say, but it was just my money maker while I was going to school. I was in school to be a plastic surgeon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I went to San Diego State. pre-med.
Uh-huh.
That was always I thought it was always my dream,
Right.
But I guess after like 2 years of, BS in college, I was just like, you know what, it's time to put it down. So I forfeited my scholarship, got my neck tattooed that same day.
Uh-huh.
And I just went, I had to make it work.
Yeah. No, that's crazy, bro, because, for me, I technically still have one class left at SCSU. Like, I'm on the SCSU alumni page, and like they've interviewed me, you know what I mean, and everything, and they've seen the work that I've done, quote unquote, post grad. You know what I'm saying? But it was never really even about school for me. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like as an entrepreneur, traditional schooling isn't necessarily always the right path. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to school to be a plastic surgeon or to be, a surgeon in general, dentist, whatever it may be, like all of these high valuable, like STEM type, careers and things like that, then sure, like, continue to pursue like the traditional route. But if you're truly an entrepreneur, like there's so many different ways you can learn. You can continue to apprentice, you know what I mean? You can go out and just continue to do, for your own and like get the reps in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's life experience.
Yeah.
You need for most industries. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so for you, like, you never talked about your apprenticeship, like time. Did you ever actually go under someone else's wing? Because I know that in like tattooing, that's like a super big thing, just a part of the culture. So did you ever actually officially go under someone's wing as an apprentice, or did you just go full blown?
No, I didn't. I didn't get the opportunity to, because those guys, 2 guys I worked with, they, kind of absentee owners. I really wanted to learn, so I would just observe. I would take on the responsibilities of an apprentice, like take out the trash. I treated the shop as my own, even though it wasn't mine. I was there like more hours during the day than they were. But as soon as they already knew that I knew how to tattoo, so they're just kind of like, all right, what do you think? That's it. So the good news is most apprentices would love that, right? To just come out the gate and just start. Right. The problem is when you don't have the right foundation, or you don't know if what you're doing is right or wrong, it takes you so much longer to learn that it is right or wrong, right? So it took me a long time to kind of solidify all the skills and do all the trial and errors and everything. So I wouldn't say I really learned from my mistakes until maybe 2012 or 13. You know what I mean?
So how far into your tattooing career was that?
5 years, 2005. It was like a good 5 to 8 years or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. That's like a fat learning curve, to be honest. Like, and to lay down, going to school and everything, even though you're still in like the learning curve, you know what I mean? Like that's a big, bold move, you know? Talk to me about the importance of taking those big leaps, those big, bold moves that eventually lead you to where you are now, able to charge $300 an hour. Like, what was that thought in your head that was like, okay, I'm going to make this move, you know what I mean, that really presses forward in this tattooing career versus, you know what I mean, going and pursuing the plastic surgeon career? What was going through your head?
Well, once again, it was more of financial need
Necessity.
at the moment, right?
Gotcha.
But not just that, but the fact that all my life I've kind of been excluded from a lot of things just because the kids around me and, the families around me or whatnot, they all had the money to, go watch movies or go out to eat, things like that. And I never got to do that.
Right.
Growing up, I got like one pair of shoes every year and a half. We bought what we could afford. The clothes I had were the clothes I had.
Right.
So I felt like I was always falling behind. So I was like, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
So that's what pushed me to get there. I remember when I got my financial aid and my scholarship and everything, I had, I don't know, $6,000-$7,000 in my bank account. I was like, oh shit.
Dang.
So that was the first, right?
Yeah.
So of course I blew it.
Yeah.
Because you're not taught how to deal with that much money.
Right.
When you're 17, 18 years old.
Right.
which is what I feel a lot of schools need to do in high school, especially, right? But it was definitely out of financial need, and it was scary because at the time there wasn't really a lot of tattoo shows or anything out yet. It wasn't like this big popular thing.
Masters and stuff like that, or
Miami Ink, I think had like just come out, been out for like a year or something. YouTube videos. There wasn't really tutorials on how to tattoo. I had like one DVD from when I was 15, and that's what I watched. You know what I mean? Or tattoo magazines. All you can do is just kind of look at the pictures and try to do something similar. Or there wasn't too much like competition right in front of your face to compete with, you know? So everyone's just kind of in their own world, just trying to better themselves. Whereas nowadays it's just, you know, everywhere you look, you see tattoos, right?
Right.
So that leap was definitely big because of that. It was, the society wasn't ready to accept tattoos yet. You know, it was still taboo at the time. Right. But I came in at the right time because, you know, it just started going up from there.
Yeah. No, 100%, bro. Yeah, I feel like, you know, as you start to really pursue like that thing, that call, that true gift that you're, you know, blessed with, you eventually have to get to this place where like you surrender to the uncomfortability, you know what I mean? And like it may take 5 years. It may take 8 years. People, that's the thing though, is like people really don't understand that it takes time. Like they look at Elon Musk, they see like Jeff Bezos, they see all these like people making tons of money and things like that. But it's like, yo, did you know like these companies have been around for 20 plus years? You know what I mean? And now you're starting to see like the fruit of their success, you know what I mean? And like, especially being like small business owners and things like that, like, sure, it may take 5 years, it may take 10 years, like in and out themselves. I compare it to a restaurant because we have a restaurant. Yeah. Like In and Out didn't expand for the first, I believe it was
forever
10 years. 10 years before like they opened, I think 5 locations. And then it was like after 20 years, they only had 20 locations in total. And now they have like hundreds. You know what I'm saying?
But expanding in Midwest and everything now too.
Right, right. And they were staying like only on the West Coast for so long. You know what I mean? That was a part of their business plan. But now they're starting to make, you know, make room and everything. But it's like, it takes time.
It takes 20 years to become an overnight success.
Right. Exactly. Talk to me now. You've made this transition where, I mean, you're still doing tattooing, and you're kind of making your own schedule. You're making your own time. Like you're quote unquote booked out till 2025, but you still make the time to hop on a pod like this.
Yeah, man.
So talk to me about like your time management and how you decided to like make this, you know, 2025, like books are closed and everything. Like, yeah, talk to me about your time management and what that looks like.
So I'm a really organized person, but it got kind of messed up after I started my nonprofit because everything just started going crazy, right?
Yeah.
But first off, when I started my nonprofit, it was kind of on a whim. Like one night I was just laying there thinking to myself, like, if something were to happen to my hands or I get old or whatever it may be, what am I going to do in my life? You know what I mean? I can't be the tattoo consultant or something, right?
Yeah. Do you have insurance for your hands?
No. I should though. Yeah. But I was like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I passionate about? And at the end of the day, it's really about helping people, right?
Right.
So I just thought about how I grew up and what I wish I had. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to start a nonprofit for kids. You know, kids like me who grew up from underserved communities, and, you know, even if it's giving them $100 or 500,000, whatever it may be that I have, just to help them out a little bit, whether it's for their schooling or just to give them in preparation for their schooling, right? Because a lot of kids in the hood, like, their families can't even afford the water bill, right?
Right.
And if they don't pay that, then they can't wash their face to go to school, whatever. And something that caters to the trades as well, where they can use those scholarships to go to barber school or cosmetology, not just the traditional route where there's so many scholarships available for those.
Right.
So I told my wife, I was like, I'm gonna start a nonprofit.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, just do it. But
Yeah.
she's so used to me just having these off the wall like
Ideas.
She's like, all right, just do whatever. So next day I did it.
Yeah.
So I did it. I was just gonna make it kind of like a private thing where I put funds into there and just, privately give to these kids every year. But one of my older homies, he really wanted to help, and he's like, man, there's no point you doing it if you're not gonna like do it, right? So him knowing me, he know I'm gonna go all in,
right?
So that's what I did.
Yeah.
So after we raised a good amount of money, had our first fundraiser, and then it's only been maybe less than 2 years now,
right?
And we pretty much sponsored like 12, 15 other organizations already. We've given away 22 scholarships.
Super amazing, man.
Kind of embedded ourselves into the Southern California like community, right?
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be a big undertaking because I'm just not focusing on San Diego. I'm just trying to serve here, LA, Orange County, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, it's been crazy. It's been taking a lot of my time just trying to like narrow down what works, what doesn't. So all like the posts, all the avenues we use to post the scholarships, the relationships, establishing that communication, I've been doing it all myself.
Right.
Just trying to set the foundation for whoever the volunteers that may help me later so they can have like a guideline. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I want it to run just right. Yeah.
No, having that system in place for any business, any organization is crucial. And especially in a nonprofit, you have to have all of your documentation, all laid out so that, because there's so much oversight when it comes to nonprofits compared to an LLC or compared to sole prop, right?
Yeah.
And so walk me through, because I'm actually interested in launching my own nonprofit.
Okay.
This is a little hint coming out, but
okay.
Nonprofit. Walk me through the process of getting started. And for those out there that may be listening to this, what's the process of getting started with a nonprofit?
Okay. So basically you got to treat it like a business, mm-hmm. right? So you started off as a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
LLC?
A regular corporation.
Okay.
Right. So like C Corp.
C Corp, S Corp.
So you start as a corporation, but the category would be 501c3 nonprofit, mm-hmm. right? So you do that, you get filed, you get treated as a regular corp, but you're tax exempt. So you have to get the federal tax exemption, and then when you get that and you get it back, you got to get the California tax exemption, mm-hmm. and then you got to register with the Registry of Charities, and then every year there's like 3 different things you got to file. It's like a 990 with the state, with the federal. And then Form 9 something for the state, and Registry of Charities is something RN. All those forms online. But you basically just got to be transparent, put all your stuff out there. If you make over 50, it's like a different form. So it's just a lot of really like nitpicky things you got to do. But keeping track of your expenses and what you make and things like that is really important. And being transparent.
Yeah, no, 100%. So with a nonprofit, is it truly that like you are not profiting, or how does a nonprofit actually function as a business? If you want to give insight on that.
So at the scale that my organization is going through, we're fully like volunteer run, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas, you may have one, I don't know, let's say Make-A-Wish Foundation or something. Mm-hmm. They do have paid employees. Like if they have a lawyer on their board, they're going to pay the lawyer, things like that. Mm-hmm. So the money that the donors give, you have donors and companies that can give you unrestricted funds, mm-hmm. and some that want you distributed towards certain things, like scholarships or, expenses for sustainability or whatnot. So at the moment, we don't make anything.
Gotcha.
Right? So we almost hit 50 actually, mm-hmm. this year. And then above that, you start having new forms to fill out, all that. But I don't think I would ever take anything from this organization until it becomes like my full time and we're banking from 500,000 or something, you know. That was never really my intention.
Right.
Starting out, I wanted to grow, run itself. And then eventually when it is my full-time job and I really am running it, then the board of directors has to vote for me to be able to obtain any type of salary.
Right.
So it's the checks and balances, right?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, especially people who knew you growing up, like some of my old friends, when I started it, they're like, so what's the catch? I'm like, there's no catch, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they just have a hard time fathoming that we would just take time out of our lives and do that for somebody.
And go support other people.
Yeah. Even like old school Asian parents, you know, when I told my mom, she was like, why you giving money to people for? I'm like,
right.
Because I want to.
Right. No, for sure, bro. And that's the thing too. Like even, you know, year to date, bro, my mom has even hit me up, like, I think maybe within the past year, you know, maybe the past 9 months or so, she's like, why don't you just go get a real job? You know, and it's like, dude, do you not know all the things that we're actually doing? You know what I mean? All the things I play, but like, it's just a generational thing where like, they really don't even understand all of these things that, I mean, it's been going on forever, but it doesn't happen within our communities. You know what I mean? Within, you know, me being half Black, half Chamorro, like happening in the Black communities, it doesn't happen in the Asian Pacific Islander communities either. You know what I'm saying? And so it's really up to us. It's our job to go spread awareness to, you know, all of these things and really influence and empower, you know what I mean, other generations, you know, to come of our type of people to go and do it as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because, you know, a lot of people are so stuck in this tunnel vision, like growing up in the hood where they only have certain things they feel they can be proud of and certain things they feel they can do, which is what my organization does. Is we're trying to expand that mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's why kids join gangs and everything else that comes with it, right? Because they come from poor neighborhoods and there's nothing else to be proud of, so they have to construct something in their minds to unite and be proud of that.
Right.
So
it may be their only form of like brotherhood, things like that they find through like gang life and things like that. Because that was a part of it for me. Like I have an older brother, but we're like 4.5 years apart. So we were like missing each other when it came to like school and everything. And like, he's just a completely different personality from me. He's like super into books, you know, super book smart person and everything, does everything by the book. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even when I started my vape business, he's a chemical engineer graduate, and he graduated like 3 years when it was like a 5-year program. He brought out his lab coat and was like, put this on. You know what I mean? Like, you're dealing with nicotine. You know what I mean?
Walter White.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, like, I'm just dealing with some like low grade, you know, nicotine making this thing. You know what I mean? But it's like, we're completely different. And when I started to, you know, hang out and kick it, like 9th grade, you know, I was coming around, you know what I mean? And I was actually about to be jumped in like one night, and on that same night, like there was other people getting jumped in and everything that night. And like one of the OGs was like, he pulled me aside. He was like, you ready? You know what I mean? And I'm like, not, I'm like, yeah, I'm down. You know, I'm like, no. Yeah, I'm down. You know what I mean? And then he's like, nah, he's like, I see something in you. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, like, what? Like, I'm here, you know what I mean? Like, everyone else is like, what's going on, right? And then here we are, like, fast forward, like, all these years later, one of, you know, my other older homies, Chris, passed away 2 years ago. You know, Chris Mendoza, or have heard of him?
I think
from Mir Mesa.
Yeah,
he was super big influence and impact in the Mir Mesa community and everything. And when he passed, you know, we were going over to his family house and everything. And I asked the dude, you know what I mean, that was supposed to jump me in that night, and was like, nah, like, I see something, you know what I mean, bigger than, I see something in you. You know, I was like, hey, bro, like, do you remember that night? And then he was like, yeah, I do. And then I was like, you remember what you said to me? And then he was like, yeah. And then I was like, why didn't you jump me in that night? And then he was like, look at what you got going now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like, you know, for me, being a man of faith, me being Christian and everything, it's like, now I realize it. You know what I mean? I really feel like God's hand was on me that night. That was like, yeah, you're called into something like much bigger than what you're doing right here. You know what I mean? And like really making that influence and that impact nowadays through what we're able to do. You know what I mean? And really press forward, you know what I mean, as a community to like show these people, show everyone really that you can do it, you know what I mean? And you can make it out the hood. You can, you know what I mean? You can use like your gift to actually make generational impact. Like here you are now with the Doan Foundation able to make like generational impact, because these kids that are getting these scholarships are going to be able to know a different route than maybe they would have without receiving the scholarship or without having the mentorship or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
One thing that you brought up was that you help establish the mindset for them. What ways do you help them to, you know, establish a better mindset towards, you know, schooling or towards the arts, or, you know?
It's not so much mindset, but just a different career path than what minority like families typically think of. You know what I mean? Because you know, me and you growing up, probably our families want us to be, you know, doctors, lawyers, engineers, whatnot.
Right.
And you know, the times, things have changed over the time, and obviously our parents don't know what makes money now, what doesn't. They don't know about YouTube people making money, all that. So they're not going to understand that there are different routes, you know,
right.
Instead of them wasting their time on, you know, going to college to be a therapist when they don't want to be a therapist.
Right.
They can just set their mind to the artistic path, whether they want to be a singer, dancer, writer. Even if they end up realizing it's not what they want to do, at least they got the opportunity to try it out, to narrow it, to narrow down their list before, you know, they become 30, 40 years old, right? And it's too late and they're stuck in some job they don't like and everything else. Just to get them out the hood, right?
Right.
Give them a different experience.
Right.
So that's what I'm referring to when it comes to mental state.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, for sure, man. Because like, I mean, for me being now making this transition into being a business coach and everything like that, like I'm under the firm belief that like, you know, we need mentorship. We need, you know, coaches in place where, you know, people really do develop the mindset for business or for art or whatever path that they're really going down, having that mentorship in place, that leadership in place that's able to continue to guide them. You know what I mean? And it's not just really a one-off experience where like, that's why I chose to be a coach and not a consultant. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because like a consultant's like, yeah, I'm here. I'm going to give you like this, and this, and like, peace. You know what
there's
I mean?
like one game plan for everybody.
Right.
But it doesn't work like
exactly.
that.
Like where coaches, like they go through life with you. You know what I mean? They really try to evaluate everything, all the pain points that you really have, all the needs that you really need to be met to get you from point A to point B. And they walk you through that journey. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever had that type of leadership, that type of mentorship? Are you looking to implement that type of leadership and mentorship, you know, throughout the Doan Foundation or even through your tattoo shop and everything?
So when my brother was still living with me, I looked up to him a lot. So he's a doctor now.
Oh, wow.
So he's older than me. He's 12 years older, but he left to medical school when I was 12. And, you know, now he's doing his own thing, his own family up in Huntington Beach.
Wow.
So I was aspiring to be like him.
Yeah.
But, you know, being by myself at home most of the time, the streets basically infected me, right?
Yeah.
So started straying off path or whatnot. When I started tattooing, I kind of just had to get along with everybody. Right? So before, I mean, especially Mira Mesa, I wouldn't even come up here. Right? Because they'll try to jump me, shoot me.
Yeah.
I couldn't even like walk across the street.
Right.
So it dawned on me how stupid the whole like enemy mentality, all the politics was when the gang that I was beefing it back then, like hardcore, right? My uncle got out of prison. It's my little cousin's uncle, but he raised me from when I was like 4 to 6. We were talking about something. He brought it up, and it turns out that gang I was beefing with, he's like first generation from that gang. But I didn't know this this whole time.
Right.
For the 5-6 years I was beefing it with them.
Right.
Or else it could have all been avoided. Right. So at that point, I'm like, why are we even doing this? You know, because I live in Linda Vista. Yeah. And you guys from Mira Mesa. Right. It's like, what's the point? Right. So, you know, I was chasing cars down freaking Mira Mesa Boulevard, and they're chasing me back to Convoy. But, you know, now I'm cool with everybody. Everything's peaceful. It feels good not having to look over my shoulder all the time. And now I want to be that voice of reason and bring people together and, you know, show them why what they're doing is freaking dumb, right? Yeah. So as far as implementing it into my foundation, I think, you know, if I do like hire a social worker or something, that would be up to them to do. If we were to get more involved into the school programs and whatnot. But at the moment, we're just trying to make it like broader. So the scholarship program is our main focus right now, but I am in the process of speaking with like therapists from juvenile hall and whatnot. And I haven't told anyone this, but basically my goal in the next 2 years is to establish some type of art program in there, or at least for the kids who
in the hall.
Okay. That are trying to get out at least. Have a chance to display their talents, whether it's, you know, me giving them a bunch of canvases and they give them all to me. I do like a real nice exhibition for them. And then basically whoever wins the contest, they'll get a scholarship, or they can get the tools they need, like a laptop with all the creative suites on there. And, you know, just give them a chance.
That's super dope, right? Bro. Yeah.
I mean, eventually I'd like to do it everywhere, but there's a lot of, you know, prison politics or whatnot. Right. A lot of them don't allow art supplies in there right now because kids end up stabbing each other or whatever else they do.
Yeah, no, 100%. Dude, that's super dope. That's super honorable of you, bro. I'm super like just grateful that we have these type of people, you know what I mean, where it's not just seeking the interests of yourself, like, you know, making money and everything. Like, it's about seeking the interests of others and really giving back to the community. You know what I mean? And that's really what I do, all of what I do for. You know what I mean? Keys to the City, that's what it's really about, is I'm here to hand over the keys to the city. Like, I want every single person that listens to this podcast to know how to really make impact within their city, make noise within their city, and hopefully it creates a global expansion from there, right? Yeah. But it starts first with like where your grassroots are, you know what I mean? So us coming from San Diego, being born and raised in SD and everything, like how to seek out these same type of people that are going to continue to make impact in the city, no matter if you're from the suburbs or if you're from the inner city or whatever, you know what I mean? Gang politics or in the, you know what I mean? Or in the city itself, right? And really equipping everyone with the tools and the resources to be able to go and do it. And especially just finding people that are very approachable, you know what I mean? Like, people assume that because, you know, you hop on Dizzy Don's IG and he got, you know, 20K followers. He got, you know, a book out. He's a philanthropist. You know what I mean? He has his books closed till 2025 that like no one's able to access him. No one's able to talk to him. You know what I mean? All you gotta do is just, just say the word and we're there. You know what I mean? Yeah. At least for the people that are really of that like-mindedness. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, I just want to continue to encourage you to do that. Continue to, you know, pursue all that you're trying to pursue, especially with the foundation. Yeah. It's really inspiring to me, you know what I mean? Because I'm 28. Yeah. And I really want to, like I said, utilize every single platform and medium that I have to continue to boost either creativity or to just provide a platform for people to invest into their gift and to sow into their gift, whether that be like out of here at the MK Lab, we're focusing a lot on the music side, helping with the music artists that come through, or photographers or people that are looking to use their voice, you know what I mean? Like that form of communication, you know what I mean? Or whether you're a graphic designer, you know what I mean? And you can use the print shop or whatever. Really any medium that I'm able to have, is really to just give that voice a platform for other people to go and, do it for themselves too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, I'm super grateful. Is there anything that you wanted to ask me?
So what made you start all this?
What made me start all this? Like the MK Lab or
just the lab in general.
The lab? Yeah. So, when I quit my corporate job, so I was a project manager, my senior year at SCSU, had a daughter on the way, and that was my firstborn, Aaliyah. And I took the job because I needed that quote unquote stable income that everyone talked about. You know what I mean? And I wanted to use my degree that I was supposed to be getting that year and ended up not getting.
Yeah.
And so I quit that. I went straight to Barnes and Nobles. I quit the corporate job, went straight to Barnes and Nobles, bought How to Start a Podcast, How to Build a Personal Brand for Dummies. And after like 2 weeks of reading these books and everything, I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to go invest into some equipment. So I bought these exact microphones and then a couple of like other things, the audio interface and everything. And I tried to do it out of my garage, just like everything else that I was starting at the time. And it was kind of going nowhere. And then my brother was like, your friends, your family, people that know you know that you're good with investing. They know that you're good, with these small businesses, but you yourself haven't taken the big leap. And so when you start this business podcast, how are you going to display that credibility to people? You know what I'm saying? That social proof. And so like, I was just like, you know what, he's right. And so I sit in my room and I'm praying and I look up and I remember seeing like this envelope that me and Steph, my wife, girlfriend at the time, we had written out. It was a menu for Smackin' or for a restaurant. You know what I mean? We didn't know it was Smackin'. And we were like, okay, we were going to do that someday. You know what I mean? And that someday just happened to be that night. I was like, okay, like God was like, start here. I was thinking like, okay, I'll quit this for now. I'll go start a barbershop. You know what I mean? Cause I knew that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But God was like, no, start here. This is more than yourself, like more than what your own goal is. You know what I mean? And through Smackin', here we are 5 years later. I've learned so much. I've met with so many people. It's put me in rooms where like, I didn't even imagine being in, you know what I mean? I've been on plenty of news, articles and things like that, and really had that city awareness, you know what I mean? Making impact in the city. And from Smackin', Smackin' was then I was able to leverage Smackin' as an asset to then purchase this asset.
Yeah. It funds your passion.
Exactly. And so here we are now 5 years later, where like I'm able to finally start this podcast that I had imagined doing, all those years ago. So that was one of the big reasons why I wanted to invest into the podcast studio so heavily. Because this was something that I've been needing to do. You know what I mean? I knew that I needed this platform, this stage to really spark the next things, to come.
Yeah. And I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I actually have a setup at home that I started during COVID, but I never followed through on it.
Right. It's hard, bro. It's really hard. And, even with starting a podcast, like you don't necessarily make anything, monetary wise.
Yeah, you're talking to yourself most of the time, hoping people watch. But at the end of the day, you keep doing the same thing day by day by day by day.
Yeah.
Even if you get one new view a day, 365 views a year, whatever.
Yeah. I'm here to just make impact for like one person. Right. So like if I find one person, or if one person, it piques their interest and they start getting moving on whatever goal, whatever, gift that they have for themselves to be utilizing, then like job complete, job done, at least for like that episode, right? And then we just continue to rinse and repeat, you know what I mean? And just continue to bring on those high level producers that are, activated and multiplying in and through their gift, you know what I mean? So that they can learn a little bit more about whatever background that they may have. And if that's their interest, then these are the steps that they took too, you know what I mean? But
everything's a domino effect. People don't realize that every one decision you make today may, affect the whole outcome of everything else, right?
Yeah.
So, obviously I started off as just some random kid on the street.
Right.
And became a tattoo artist. And then during COVID, when my shop was shut down, I didn't know what I was going to do, right?
Yeah.
Like 7 months of not working. And all of a sudden I drew something and then it went viral. And then that paid for all the months that I was out of business.
Wow.
Right? So you just never know. And that was like an accident, right?
Wow.
So then, of course, as I dove back into the tattoo world when it was over, I became known as like an activist artist or whatnot. And then from there, it gave me a reach to an audience that I didn't have before. Before it was just tattoo enthusiasts. So then I started getting different organizations hit me up, asking me to help them. So it changed the whole judgment stereotype thing in people's minds, So that's when I knew, the tides were turning, right? And then that's what catapulted me into being able to establish my foundation, because then I had the credibility of like all sides, business, philanthropy, all that.
Right.
And then I'm not afraid to take risks. So I was like, why not?
Obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. And so here's what I wanted to tell you.
Yeah.
So my first fundraiser last year that we had, I invited a lot of the organizations I've worked with and just people I know or whatnot.
Yeah.
And the last maybe 2 weeks prior, I was like, I need to get some government officials or something here just to get some pull, right?
Right.
I had a feeling they were going to say no, but I was like, what? The worst thing I can do is not ask at all.
Right.
So, I reached out to the mayor and the council member, all that. And,
Yeah.
of course, the mayor couldn't come, but the council member did send 2 reps there. And, they had a good time. It was cool. They already knew about my artwork.
Was this Kent Lee? Right, Kent Lee?
This is when Kent Lee was in already. So they came, had a good time. We had some mutual friends or whatnot. And, I kind of just left it at that. I didn't really need anything from them. I didn't ask them for anything.
Yeah.
So fast forward, this is last May, fast forward to October. That's when I did my book signing. My book was already done.
Yeah.
I spent a year on it.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So after that, I was like, okay, I get to chill for a little bit. Okay. And focus on my foundation. That's when I started planning my next event already. So maybe a few days after that, I got text from the director of communications from Kent Lee. And he was like, hey, he was just telling me about this opportunity, asking if I'm interested in being an advisor for the city of San Diego. But in my mind, I was like, okay, you guys doing a mural? You need me to oversee a project or what,
Yeah.
Or is it some gang thing? And we ended up meeting in person. He was talking to me, explaining to me budgets and all that. So I was like, so what do you want me to do, dude? And they're like, we're wondering if you're interested in becoming the commissioner for arts and culture for the city of San Diego.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, you sure you got the right guy?
Dang, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's just like, yeah, we've been looking for a rep for our district for a while. So District 6. And I was like, let me think about this.
Yeah.
So that caught me off guard. So I talked to my wife and everything, because obviously it would take more time away. And then talked to a few people on the commission currently. There's like 15 commissioners. So after maybe a week, I told him, like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because if I had not taken that opportunity and said yes, it would never come again.
Right.
Right. And if I'm really about it, if I'm really about what I say I'm about, then I just got to take it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's been a lot of lagging with the city. There's a lot of, other issues that are more important, but I've been waiting since probably January, but I just got news 2 days ago that I'm going to be sworn in this Tuesday. It's coming Tuesday.
Let's go. Yeah. Let's go, bro. That's so exciting.
So right before the gala.
Wow, man.
So I'll be the first Vietnamese person ever on the commission.
That is so amazing, brother. Congratulations, man. That's so dope. That's super dope. Like,
just representation wise, it's important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, 100%, bro. That's really what it's all about, you know? And that's the thing, like, you don't have to, if you're using your gift, like, and allowing your gift to make room for you, like, the Bible says that your gift will put you in rooms where you've never been before. Like, you know, like, your gift will open doors for you that you never imagined. You know what I mean? And you just have to continue to invest into your gift. And here you are now, you know what I mean, allowing your gift to make room for you. Like, you went from this kid off the street, bro, to charging nothing, charging McDonald's, you know what I mean, $50, you know what I mean, $300, whatever. But now here you are, you know, all these years later, and now you're about to be the first Vietnamese commissioner. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just nuts.
Yeah,
and
it's wild.
And you don't have to backdoor your way into anything. Like, you just, like, it's just there for you. You know what I mean? Like, your gift, when you're fully invested into your gift, like, in the way that you are, especially, you know, and you, even though you face all these obstacles, you know what I mean? Like, your shop was shut down, your shop got even broken into, you know, all these types of things. It came from a drawing, from the first thing that you ever started with, which was a drawing, doodling back in the day, right? It came from a drawing.
Yep. Any little thing can catapult you into who knows where, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, if I go back to the neighborhood, no one's ever going to expect, like, okay, this was a public official now.
Yeah.
So, you know, some friends may say you sold out.
Yeah.
Right? And then some may be proud of you.
Yeah.
Others, you know, won't care regardless of what it is.
Right.
But you got to do for yourself and your community. You know, that's what's important, because at the end of the day, you know, I know so many people, you know, but there's a very small group of people that have really supported me throughout, like, all these years, whether I was poor or rich or whatever it may be. But yeah, at the end of the day, you got to do it for yourself and what your values are. You know, that's what's important. Like, even if it's gonna, you know, it's gonna take a lot of my time and a lot of move shifting appointments around or whatnot, it's gonna be worth it. So I feel like I can contribute in a unique way because, one, I'm pretty young.
Yeah.
Two, I have a different perspective because I am an Asian American and I am from the hood.
Right.
And I know what the people from there need.
Yeah.
Especially when it relates to, you know, arts and culture, like the festivals that we have, the representation that needs to happen in all these different communities. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Dude, I'm so excited for that. Any way that I can help support you, you know, through this next chapter, you know what I mean, of being a commissioner, especially in the arts, you know what I mean, let me know. I'm here for you. You know, Keys to the City is here for you. You know, any way, the MK Lab is here for you. And so I'm excited to see what our relationship, our partnership can, you know, throw us forward, especially, you know, for our community. You know what I mean? Anything else you want to ask me, brother, before we close this one out?
So, what's the kid do?
Huh? When's the kid do? Actually due in 2 weeks, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, May 30th, which is the day after my wife's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
it's probably going to happen the day of.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's going to happen. We're expecting it anytime now. But super excited, man. This is our third girl.
Yeah, congrats,
man. Hashtag Kobe, you know what I mean? In my girl dad era, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is probably going to be our last for sure.
Yeah.
And so seeing what we do with it, you know what I mean? I'm excited to raise these girls up and have them know, you know what I mean, all of what I do, but I hope that they, you know, pave their own path too, you know what I mean? Like, this is just all of this is really just a means for opportunity. Like that's my view on money. You know what I mean? It's like any way that I can create wealth, any way that I can use and leverage my platforms, my mediums, any resources that I have is just an opportunity for someone else. You know what I mean? And so like though I know how to invest and though I know how to make money and know how to steward money and everything and resources well, it's not for myself. You know what I mean? It's for the generational impact. You know what I mean? So my daughters, daughters, you know what I mean? And so
we make the mistakes so they don't have to later.
Right. You know, and continue to take those risks, bro. You know what I mean? So that they don't have to, or at least like they'll have some type of platform that they'll be able to like leverage it from, you know what I mean? And know what those mistakes costed, you know what I mean? Before they start to do it themselves, if they do it themselves, you know? But yeah, man, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you, you know, taking time out of your busy schedule for sure, Commissioner. And I just want to leave you off with this, man. It's Matthew 5:14 is, you are the light of the world. The city set on a hill cannot be hidden. And so what that means is just continue to go be a light in your community. Continue to use your gift to make impact and influence within your community and empower, you know, the next generation of people to also do the same, you know, and just continue to sow that light into people, you know what I mean? And really give them that hope that there's more to life than the streets. There's more to life than, you know what I mean, the tattoo for the McDonald's bag. There's more to life than all of it, you know what I mean? And so thank you for your time. Thank you for this great interview, and
thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you.